All right, so my next guest today is Todd Rountree. He's President and CEO of Austin American.
Yes, sir.
Nice to see you, Todd.
Wonderful to see you as well.
Yeah, so last time we spoke, we were really talking about the acquisition, or the recent acquisition at the time, of Aqua Klean Systems by Austin American. We're now a few months down the road. Let's talk about how is the integration gone, and what have we learned from it?
Yeah, so the integration was, has been somewhat what we predicted, and a little bit of what we didn't predict. So there's definitely been some bumps along the way, but all in all, it's been a wonderful experience for both AAT and I think for AKS. I think the synergies between the two companies have really kind of aligned, and we're beginning to kind of, beat on all cylinders at this point.
Right, great. So not too big a difference in terms of culture, because culture is such a huge part of any acquisition.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Being that they were a small company, we're a small company, the employees have really, kind of fallen, I don't want to say fallen in line, but definitely picked up the new style, we'll say, and everything is, like I said, it really is, we have some great synergies now.
Right. So are you both forming, I know you're both in two different sites, but are you following the same sort of manufacturing techniques for the most part?
Actually, that's a great question. So, being in two different sites is very difficult to manage, but they have their way of doing things. There are some differences in electrical, the way they build or design their equipment versus the way we do ours. So at this point, we're still kind of separate in that sense, but we do hope in the coming months to be able to actually kind of bring those technologies together, trying to get some synergies and actually some commonality in parts that we use,
right.
Which we believe will help out not only in our design, our safety, our things like that, but it's also going to help the customer out, because if we have one part, we generally keep that stuff in stock, so it'll be a whole lot easier to supply and make sure that we can service the equipment.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, one of the very distinctive differences with the Aqua Klean systems is they use this polycarbonate shell. Is that something you think that through time you might bring across into some of the Austin American batch systems?
Yeah, absolutely, because we look at it this way. We don't have the capability of doing plastics fabrication at our facility, and they have always had that capability, so that's been something that's really been a focus for us, is that we would really like to integrate some of that plastics fab into our own equipment rather than having to sub it out. Yeah. So we are very interested in trying to integrate that into some of our equipment here soon.
Good. Okay. So what other things have you learned? Well, I mean, obviously working, you mentioned there, running a company in California.
Yes. So what I kind of learned throughout all of this is what I didn't know about trying to operate a business in California.
Right.
Regulations, rules, bureaucracy, the red tape is so much different in California than it is in Texas.
Really?
I can definitely understand why some of the bigger corporations are moving to Texas.
Right.
It is definitely a much more friendly business state. But, hey, we have to do what we have to do. We have a location in California, so it's just been an educational experience trying to navigate through all the new things I had to learn.
Right. So let's look at the customers. I mean, the customer base, they tend to work with a few large customers. You batch cleaners tend to go mostly to smaller, mid-sized customers. Has there been any crossover with companies who buy Inline but now decide to buy a batch as well?
Yeah, actually, and that's been another great thing that's kind of come from this merger is, the customers that did have large inline cleaners are now looking to us for smaller batch cleaners as backup for the inline cleaners, as well as stencil cleaners to complement their current process. So it's when we originally kind of planned all of this, or were trying to make all of this happen, we were really looking at the 1 + 1 = 2, with a dream that it was going to actually equal 3. And we're actually realizing that dream right now, because what we thought would happen is happening, in the sense that, kind of like you said, the customers that had that stuff are now looking to us for other equipment for their floor. So it's been very beneficial.
Good. So has the headcount stayed the same between both companies?
Almost. We've actually hired out of our location in Austin. We did hire a new service tech that is really kind of specifically to service the AKS side, but is also learning, cross-training, learning on our equipment as well. So we have grown by one at that, so far, and we are looking right now actually to hire some more people in our internal, as far as our parts department and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe your founder, Steve Stash, is going to be coming back on the scene with some of his technical articles.
Yeah, we are. We're not exactly sure if Steve's just getting bored with being retired, or maybe just we really need him. But we actually have been working with our marketing company about trying to get Steve back involved, maybe write some new papers, actually start doing some research and things like that. So we're really kind of excited that Steve's going to be a little more involved and actually on a technical side, and starting to produce those articles that everybody knows him for.
Well, certainly on the technical side he's very strong, so
Yes.
it'd be great to see him back in the saddle, so to speak. But,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So thank you for coming in and bringing us up to date with the notice of the combination between Aqua Klean and Austin American. And,
Absolutely.
We look forward to catching up with you again next time.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you.
Why do something 3 times when you can do it only once? Using N1 Pass technology, BTU's new Profile Tracer is a next-generation thermal profiling tool, providing real-time data acquisition for oven optimization. It identifies inconsistencies due to temperature variables at both the product level and the heat source. Profile Tracer measures dual temperature locations as well as vibration, all in one pass, giving you time to attend the more important things in life.